This is the NC500 in Scotland, a road trip that's earned its place on just about every traveller's bucket list. It's 516 miles of winding roads, epic mountain views, endless beaches, and landscapes that seem to change with every turn. Hey, I'm Ross, and in this video I'm going to be taking you through what I think is the perfect itinerary for the North Coast 500. I've done this trip a fair few times now, in different seasons and in everything from cars to campervans, so I've figured out how to pace it, which stops are worth your time, and where to skip if you're on a tight schedule. So, welcome to the NC500. In this video, I'm going to walk you through my anti-clockwise route, starting and ending in Inverness, picking out the highlights along the way. And if you'd like everything from this video in one handy guide, the full route, the must-see stops, and a digital map, then grab my ultimate NC500 road trip guidebook. It's the perfect resource to save you time and stress while planning your trip. With hundreds of 5-star reviews, it's already helped so many people have a trip of a lifetime. Just scan the QR code or hit the link in the description to get yours today. So, day 1, Inverness to Dunnet Head. Today we'll be covering the whole of the east coast. Heading north out of Inverness, the scenery starts to open up almost straight away. Today's route along the east coast is all about grand castles, dramatic cliffs, and those big coastal views that the NC500 is known for. We'll be covering the whole of the east coast in one day today, so there's lots of driving and a few places to stop and explore along the way. First up, Dunnet Castle, a place that looks like it's been lifted straight out of a Disney film. The gardens are immaculate and the view from down by the shore is well worth the short walk. You can stop here for the loo and refreshments, or you can pay for a guided tour around the castle as well. Next stop, the Willigo Steps, 365 steep steps that wind their way down the cliff to a tiny harbour. Going down is easy, but the climb back up will of course get your legs working. From here, you're then going to carry on to Wick, a small fishing town that makes for a handy fuel stop and supply stop too. There's fuel stations here, there's also a shop here and a Tesco if you need to fill up with snacks, drinks and other food along the way, especially if you're doing an overnight stop tonight at Dunnet Head. From there, it's a short drive to John O'Groats, one of Scotland's most famous signposts, and yes, it's touristy, but it's worth the stop for the photo. And on a clear day, you can see right out to the Orkney Islands. Now, if you're in a self-contained van, I recommend ending the day at Dunnet Head, the true most northerly point on mainland Britain. It's wild, it's exposed, and absolutely beautiful. There's a small parking fee for overnight parking, and there are no facilities, but there's plenty of peace and quiet, with the most amazing sunset views as well. Day 2 along the North Coast 500. Today we're doing Dunnet Head to the town of Durness. Day 2 takes you along the very top of mainland Scotland, with a mix of wide sandy beaches, rugged cliffs and one of the most famous caves in the country. Start your morning with a walk along Dunnet Beach, a vast golden stretch of sand that's perfect for a quiet stroll as the waves roll in. On a calm day, the reflections on the wet sand can be stunning, and if you're feeling adventurous, you can even book a surfing lesson here. From Dunnet, head west into Thurso, the most northerly town in the UK. It's a good place to fill up on fuel, stock up on supplies, and grab a coffee from one of the independent cafes. Back on the road, your next stop is Strathy Beach. Beautiful bays framed by grassy dunes and rocky cliffs, with crystal clear water that changes colour depending on the light. There's a viewpoint just above the beach that gives you sweeping panoramas of the coastline. And this is a perfect place to stop for lunch or a quick picnic, as there's a loo and also a large car park as well. Continue west towards Smoo Cave, one of Scotland's most famous natural landmarks. This massive sea cave was carved by both the ocean and the inland river, creating a dramatic main chamber with a waterfall inside. You can explore the cave for free or join a short guided boat trip to head deep into the tunnels for a closer look at the falls. Your final stop today is Durness Beach, just a stone's throw away from Cocoa Mountain and Durness Village. This beach is backed by cliffs that look straight out over the turquoise water, and on a clear evening, the sunset here can be incredible, casting golden light over the sand and sea stacks. Now there are a few overnight options if you're staying in Durness. You've got a few campsites, you've also got a few Airbnbs, cottages and hotels nearby. My favourite is the Sango Sands Oasis campsite with the most amazing views looking over the beach, its own viewpoint and fantastic facilities. In the summer months, this can be exceptionally busy and therefore you must book in advance if you're wanting to stay here, especially if you're in a van or a motorhome. Day 3 on the North Coast 500. Today you begin the journey down Scotland's wild west coast, a stretch of road that's narrow, winding and slow going in places, but rewards you with some of the most dramatic scenery of the entire NC500. Leaving Durness, the road hugs the coastline, offering constant views of the cliffs dropping into turquoise waters. Your first major stop is the Kilsoo Bridge, an elegant sweeping curve of concrete that perfectly frames the surrounding mountains and the sea lochs. There's a small car park just before the bridge where you can stop for a photo, and if you're lucky you might spot seals or even porpoises in the water below. Now in the car park there's often a small coffee van or food van parked up, so it's the perfect place to stop for a quick break, enjoy the view and grab a quick coffee to get the morning going. A short drive south brings you to the Wailing Widow Falls, a powerful 50-foot waterfall tumbling into a deep plunge pool. There are two ways to see it, from above at the roadside viewpoints, or by taking a short but steep path down to the base where you can look at the water crashing into the cliffs. Now parking here is pretty much non-existent, especially at the bottom. There is a small car park at the top where you can park up if you've got a small to medium vehicle and then walk down the hill towards the waterfall. Otherwise you can view the waterfall from the top of the hill and see both the loch and the waterfall from the top. Now if you're feeling confident on the single track roads, I recommend taking the official route, which is the Drumbeg Loop, a scenic detour that winds through the rocky hills, freshwater lochs and tiny crofting villages. Along the way, make sure to stop at the Secret Tea Garden, a cosy little spot tucked away off the road, serving homemade cakes, fresh coffees and tea in a garden setting. It's a beautiful place, and there's also a shop selling handmade soap as well. Now while it is the official route, it can be quite slow, especially in the summer months, and if you're in a large vehicle it can be particularly hard to pass as there's limited passing places. Now if you're driving a large van or a motorhome, something over 6 or so meters, then it's best to check out my guide and my other motorhome video, as this is one of the roads that you're probably best to avoid, as it's very narrow and there are limited passing places along the way. Continue south along the Drumbeg Loop and you'll eventually reach the final stops of the day. It's a tough one to pronounce, but we're going to stop at Almelvik Beach and nearby Clathor Beach. Both are famous for their blindingly white sand and unbelievably clear water, which can almost look tropical in the right light. They're a perfect place for an afternoon walk, a paddle if you're feeling brave, or just sitting back and enjoying the view. You can choose to spend the night at Almelvik Beach, which has a campsite right by the beach, or head into the town of Lochinver, a small fishing village with a few good places to eat and stay. Either way, you'll end the day surrounded by some of the most beautiful coastal scenery in the Highlands. Day 4 on the North Coast 500. Start the morning in Lochinver, a small but charming fishing village that's become a favourite stop for NC500 travellers. It's known for its working harbour, friendly cafes and famous Lochinver larder, which serves what many say are the best pies in Scotland, perfect for breakfast or to take away for the road. From Lochinver, follow the road and before long you'll spot Ardrevek Castle in the distance. A crumbling ruin standing on a small peninsula jutting into Loch Asant. Even in the ruined state, it's a striking sight, especially when the water is still and the castle's reflection shimmers on the loch's surface. Next, take a short detour to Rui Lighthouse, a small white beacon that stands at the edge of the headland with sweeping views looking out over towards the water and the Outer Hebrides. This is the perfect place for a picnic or just to read your book as you watch the boats sail by. From here you'll continue into Ullapool, a colourful fishing town with a lively harbour, great seafood restaurants and a few quirky shops. Now Ullapool is a great place to refuel and stock up your food. There's a large Tesco supermarket and there are several petrol stations as well. After lunch, stop at Gairloch Gorge, a deep box canyon where a suspension bridge offers dizzying views down to the waterfall below. You'll have to pay for parking here, but entry is free and there are a great selection of short walks around the gorge to explore. Finally, end your day in the town of Gairloch, where the evening light over the Atlantic makes for some of the best sunsets en route. There are a selection of great restaurants here, and my favourite place to stay is the Big Sands campsite just up the road from Gairloch. Here you have access to the Big Sands beach, fantastic clear bay, and the most amazing place to view the sunsets too. And while you're here, just a quick reminder that you can view the full itinerary, including recommended places to stay, explore, eat and drink, all inside my detailed NC500 guide and digital map. It's already trusted by hundreds of travellers who have rated it 5 stars, so you know you're in good hands. Scan the QR code on the screen or use the link in the description to grab your copy. Day 5 along the NC500, Gairloch to Applecross. Today is one of the most scenic drives of the whole NC500, taking you through remote highland glens, towering mountain ranges and tiny coastal villages that feel a world away from the busy start in Inverness. Your first stop of the day is Victoria Falls. Tucked away near Slakedale, the hidden waterfall is surrounded by woodland, and if you visit after a spell of rain, the water comes roaring down in a spectacular display. It's a quick visit but well worth it. There are also a selection of great walks from the car park which are worth exploring if you've got spare time on your hands. From here the road winds into the Torridon Mountains, an area that will have you pulling over constantly for photos. These ancient peaks rise sharply from the glens, their rocky slopes often catching the light in the shades of orange and gold. On a clear day, the views across the lochs are simply breathtaking. You'll also pass through the village of Torridon itself, a popular spot for walkers and also hosts a fantastic shop called Torridon Stores. Definitely worth a visit. You'll then follow the route along to the village of Shildig, another tiny picturesque village set on the shores of Loch Shildig. Finally, the road hugs the coast as you approach Applecross, one of the most remote villages in mainland Scotland. It has a laid-back, end-of-the-road feel with just a handful of houses, a few places to stay, and the well-known Applecross Inn, which serves fresh seafood straight from the local boats. This by far was one of my favourite spots. We spotted plenty of deer out towards the water, with the most amazing views out towards the sea. We had fish and chips as we sat outside as the sun set. Day 6 on the NC500, Applecross to Inverness. Your final day on the NC500 starts with one of the most unforgettable drives in Scotland. This twisting, single-track mountain pass climbs to over 2,000 feet with hairpin bends that wind their way up through a dramatic valley. Before you even reach the top, you'll find a viewpoint that's worth pulling over for. From here on a clear day, you can see it right across the Isle of Skye and the cooling mountains in the distance. And if you're really lucky, you might experience a cloud inversion just like we did, where the peaks rise above a blanket of mist, giving the feeling that you're looking out over a white sea. This was by far my favourite moment on the NC500. Now if you're driving a large motorhome or don't fancy the steep gradients, there's an alternative to route via Shildig and Loch Carron that's just as beautiful, with long open views across the lochs. From the pass, the route then heads down to a small little village of Loch Carron. Make sure to stop at the Waterside Cafe in Loch Carron. It's a friendly little spot just by the water that serves great coffee, cakes, light lunches, but also fantastic brunch if you just come over from Applecross, all with a view that's hard to beat. From here you'll then drop down to Dunnet Castle, probably the most photographed castle in all of Scotland. Perched on a small island where the sea lochs meet, it's very picturesque whether you choose to go inside or just admire from the outside. And the final stretch takes you along the shores of Loch Ness, passing through small Highland villages and giving you one of the last chances to soak in scenery. And don't forget to keep your camera ready, as you never know when Nessie might make an appearance. Arriving back in Inverness, you have completed the full NC500 loop after 516 miles of mountains, beaches, castles and coastlines. It's a route that will stay with you long after you've driven it.